Even with the NFL regular season ending, the news cycle for those teams that did not make the playoffs are about to take over our lives. They already started to. And yesterday was probably the biggest news that we will see to this point. And a name has emerged that I personally think the Pittsburgh Steelers should make a phone call to if everything doesn't go his way over the next couple of weeks. What's going on, everybody? I'm Noah Strackmine. Thank you for jumping on to Steelers to Go, your daily to-go cup of Pittsburgh Steelers news and analysis. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk or subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they are preparing for the Buffalo Bills. Their quarterback room, their coaching room, everything is intact right now. This team is simply worried about how far in the dance they can go and if they can make a run, even if people think they have no shot. I've seen analyst after analyst say they got lucky, fool's gold to make the playoffs. And quite frankly, you win 3 in a row right at the end there. You don't lose 3 in a row before that. You're in the playoffs with ease. You're actually competing for the AFC North. You're competing for the AFC in general. So I wouldn't say it was fool's gold. I wouldn't say they have no shot. I would simply say they showed up when they needed to show up, backs against the wall, and they did what they needed to do. From here, we'll see. Just like every other game, we'll see what happens. But that's not what this is about. That's not what we're here to talk about. It's not, quite frankly, what I'm most interested in over the last 24 hours. What I am most interested in is a name that has emerged in the coaching carousel that I truly believe if nothing goes his way, which I'm not totally sold that it will, the Pittsburgh Steelers should make a phone call. And yeah, maybe this is a bit of a dream. Maybe this is a bit far-fetched. Maybe it's a bit unrealistic right now, 24 hours removed from the news. But in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month, when we're sitting around talking about, man, I can't believe this guy still doesn't have a job, the Pittsburgh Steelers should make a phone call. Just remember that 24 hours removed, it was a dream. 24 hours removed, it was far-fetched. Every day that passes after that, it becomes more and more realistic. And maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers just need to hold on to some hope. Yesterday, the Tennessee Titans decided they are no longer going to move forward with head coach Mike Vrabel, former Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker. Mike Vrabel. 2 years ago, this guy was a coach of the year candidate. He helped turn a team around, a franchise around that has been struggling. And this year, maybe last year as well, the team didn't have the talent to compete. And maybe to a degree that is his fault. But maybe at the same time, it's his GM trading away A.J. Brown and making all these moves and nobody wanting to play for them and free agency not going their way and Ryan Tannehill supposedly being something and then no longer being something. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a couple of injuries on the offensive line. Maybe it's the age of Taylor Lewan. Who knows? Who knows what went wrong in Tennessee, and maybe everything went wrong in Tennessee, and maybe Mike Vrabel is at fault for the whole thing, or maybe Mike Vrabel's at fault for nothing, or maybe Mike Vrabel's at fault for the middle ground. Who knows? But the Tennessee Titans decided they are no longer going to move forward with him, that they are going to look for somebody new to try and help turn this team around. And by all means, no questions asked. And it's going to take some time. The Pittsburgh Steelers should make a phone call and say, hey, Mike, you want to come to Pittsburgh? Because I think it'd be a great idea for you to come to Pittsburgh. Now, let me explain. I have seen tweets. I have seen people say, hey, I think Mike Vrabel is a better head coach than Mike Tomlin, and the Steelers should replace Mike Tomlin with Mike Vrabel, and that is by no means what I am trying to toss out on the table right now. Zero chance. I do not believe that Mike Vrabel is a better head coach than Mike Tomlin. I don't even think it's close, to be totally honest with you, and I don't think that you replace Mike Tomlin. I mean, we talked about this literally yesterday, how Mike Tomlin isn't leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it makes no sense for him to leave the Pittsburgh Steelers, and quite frankly, I believe every report that says the Steelers are not going to fire this guy right now. And after making the playoffs, after a 3-game winning streak, after turning this team around right at the end and everybody following suit, and guys like TJ Watt saying, why is your season still alive? Mike Tomlin is your head coach, and he's not going to not be your head coach, and I don't think he's going to leave. And no, I do not believe that Mike Vrabel is a better head coach than the Pittsburgh Steelers' current head coach. What I'm talking about is more of a Brian Flores role. Come back as a defensive consultant, coach a position, coach the entire defense, be an assistant head coach, something like that. Something to kind of breeze through a year so that you can regroup yourself and go land a coaching job somewhere again. That's what I believe. And right now, I don't know how realistic that is because, again, we are 24 hours removed from this. Right now, everybody and their mother is looking for a head coach. There are going to be teams that are going to continue to look for head coaches. And if the New England Patriots job becomes available, which I don't believe it's going to become available, Mike Vrabel is probably going to be the favorite, if not the second favorite, behind Gerard Mayo to land that job. So there's a pretty good chance that the Steelers don't even get an opportunity to make a phone call. But if 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, the Steelers are eliminated from the playoffs, maybe the Steelers win the Super Bowl, who knows? And the offseason begins and things start to dim down and coaching positions are filled and more vacancies become filled, for lack of a better term. Mike Vrabel's still sitting around. The Steelers make a phone call because why wouldn't you? You're not going to hire him as a defensive coordinator. You're going to keep TA around, obviously. But you hire him as a defensive consultant. You hire him as something. You give him a real fat check and you say, hey, you come in here and you help sculpt this defense and you help turn this team around and you help just regroup and make everything better. You just help make everything better for the 2024 season, and we'll almost guarantee you a head coaching job somewhere. And you're telling me that Mike Vrabel, if nothing goes his way, that is very important here. If nothing goes his way, if the Chargers do not hire him, if the Falcons do not hire him, if the Patriots do not hire him, if whoever does not hire this guy, if the defensive coordinators who go other places do not fill that role with Mike Vrabel, you're telling me you don't want to come to Pittsburgh? You don't want to come back to the team that drafted you? You don't want to come coach a team with TJ Watt and possibly Cam Hayward and Minka Fitzpatrick and guys like Landon Roberts and Larry Ogunjobi and Keanu Benton and Joey Porter Jr.? You don't want to coach that? I think everybody does. And I think Mike Vrabel would love it. And I think those guys would love Mike Vrabel. On top of that, he gets a year to revamp his resume and just say, hey, look, I could turn this defense into something crazy, and everybody's going to credit him because he's going to be the big name on campus, just like Brian Flores. When the Steelers' defense was good, it was because of Brian Flores. Everybody totally ignored Terrell Austin, and the same thing will happen with Mike Vrabel. That's exactly what will go down, is if the Steelers' defense is just as dominant next year, if not more than it is this year, everybody will talk about how good Mike Vrabel is and how he helped turn this team into something dominant and continue a run in Pittsburgh that has been here for generations. From there, chances are he's got a head coaching gig in 2025. Again, everything's got to go the Pittsburgh Steelers way here. It is way too early for this, and I was joking with some guys in the media room yesterday as the news came out, and one of them tossed out, and I'm not sure that he wants me to toss his name onto this, so I won't. But one of them tossed out, hey, the Steelers should hire this guy as a defensive consultant for the playoffs. I said, man, that's a good idea. But that'll never happen. You're not going to do that this early, and he's not going to learn the defense this early. He's going to come in here and just be a motivator. That's never going to happen. But in the offseason, if everybody else hires coaches and Mike Vrabel is not one of them, and he's not looking to be a defensive coordinator somewhere, and he's looking to kind of take that year off just to get another head coaching job, a defensive consultant gig with an assistant head coach label is as good as it gets, and the Steelers should 100% make that phone call. And anybody who's saying, oh, well, the New England Patriots, they'd probably have a better shot at him than the Steelers. No, they wouldn't. I get it that he's got all the connections there, but you're telling me that you'd rather go to a New England team that's going to suck next year, that's going to struggle, that's going to have a bad record, and say, hey, look at how good I did here with a really team. That was good. No. You want to go to Pittsburgh, where chances are they're a quarterback away from a Super Bowl run. And then from there, you look like a genius. You look like you did something extraordinary. That's how you get a head coaching gig. Go to the best available team with the best available players to boost your resume as well as you can in a year. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers. And man, would it be awesome to see Mike Vrabel on the sidelines with these guys and talk about a Mike Tomlin, Mike Vrabel combination there with guys like TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Landon Roberts running around for this team, and Najee Harris and Jalen Warren and Pat Fryermuth and Isaac Siamalu and Broderick Jones. It's exciting. And it would be one hell of a time, one hell of a season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, if everything goes their way.